This is Arc Analysis.
This is Arc Anaylsis.
This is
is
100th Arc Analysis.
So we did have a pre-meeting where you could have just said, "Hey, man, I'm going to say 100th." That way we could have done it in sync.
Gotta keep you guessing. Gotta keep you guessing, Daddy.
No, I do not accept that nickname. You already got away with Danky Kang, which should have never been my nickname. You had better nicknames for me when we were, I guess, childhood friends, high schoolish friends.
No, but Danky Kang was from
Jeopardy.
that Jeopardy. Yeah, okay.
I get it.
You know.
But you were calling me cooler things before that came around, and this one just stuck.
Legend Dankery.
The fact that Coke came just because spell check is a motherfucker.
That's what I love, is that like the lore of my name is
spell check.
You can't spell.
Pretty much. Hey guys, this is us peeling back the curtain to who you've been listening to for, we want to say 3 seasons, but it's actually like 6 years.
Big quotations for that.
6 years? I don't know. I guess we started 20
with a couple breaks.
Yeah. They don't
that
know
weren't planned.
They don't know that. Don't read the dates. Just see how many episodes and labors of love that we've been consistently just talking about comics. I guess friendship, if you want to call this friendship, but the art form of comic books, right? So, not that it's been a pleasure. It's definitely been a labor of love, but
yeah,
it's cool that we've made it this far.
Yeah, and it's fun. Most of the time, it's like this part is fun.
Yeah,
getting to here isn't always fun. What comes after this isn't always fun, but this right here, this is fun. This is good stuff.
This and the 6 minutes before we push play, where we just get all of our shit out.
Yeah. And it's like, and then one of us is always like, we should have been recording this.
Without fail, time. It's like, oh, that was a good thought. It's like, yep, it's gone.
I'm going to save it for the show, and then I forget it.
It's gone.
It's gone.
So,
and we can't help it. We do it every time.
Legitimately, every single time I've ever turned on the camera with this guy.
And they're always like, okay, this time we're just going to pop up and show them. It's going to pop up and hit record. I wanted to say it, but I couldn't.
Oh, pop up and show niggas? Is that what you want to say?
I was going to, that's the line I was trying to go for, but I was like, what's a word that sounds like it, but isn't too close to it? And so I just let it go.
Sir, you made the right call of not even trying.
Yeah, I just gave up.
No, that would have definitely, that would have brought you to your favorite Jay-Z album, Kingdom Come.
Hey,
you had to think about it. You're like, I don't like Blueprint 2.
Blueprint 2 I like. Blueprint, wait. No, Blueprint 2 is double. That's a double disc. Sorry, I think I'm Blueprint 1.
I didn't.
But Blueprint 2 is better than Blueprint 3.
Blueprint 2.1 is better than Blueprint 3? Yes. Blueprint 2 better than Blueprint 3? I don't know. I
didn't really like, but Blueprint 3 is a little too poppy for me. But.
Yeah, but he gets some things accomplished, and he gets a lot of people's first tracks right before they blow.
Oh, Blueprint 3? Yeah, that's the first time I heard Jermaine.
And he basically kills T-Pain's career.
Yeah.
First career, and then he comes with the second.
Why was T-Pain even, like, because T-Pain can sing, so I don't know why he just stuck with, I mean, I guess it's his thing, but.
He learned how to sing. He couldn't always sing.
But he hits the proper note, he's in the right keys and stuff.
He's melodical and a genius of music, but he built up that tool of his voice to become a singer. He was using autotune as a crutch when nobody else was using it, and then flipped it into an amazing way of making music, but then left the crutch, right? A lot of people didn't leave that crutch.
Yeah.
Like some of my favorite artists still using computers to make love. Computer love.
And then Usher made him cry.
Computer love. I know, on a plane too.
Yeah, on a plane too.
On a plane.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. Never meet your heroes.
Never.
Especially if they're named Kal-El.
Or MAGOG.
When do I get to start my MAGOG rant?
So we saved a notable book for number 100. Kingdom Come by Mark Waid and Alex Ross, DC Comics, 1996 is the original. And this is regarded as like top 25 of all time by a lot of people. Maybe even top 10.
In DC specifically, yeah. A lot of people say
DC, yeah, I say 25 all time. You and
10,
I,
10 in
however,
DC. Yeah.
yeah, you and I, however, probably don't share that sentiment. Now, we also didn't read this 30 years ago when it came out, so maybe it was different.
Do you think that would have changed anything?
It may have.
Was your sensibility enough to take this in with what you were reading at that time?
No, I think I would have 30 years ago. Oh, jeez. 30 years ago. I was like, I would have just been like, whoa, the heroes are fighting each
Mm.
other. Like, it would have been Alex Ross who sold me on this, not Mark Waid.
Yep.
Is 10 years ago. And then, so then you get that nostalgia, right? So then whenever you see it, it's like, oh, I used to love this book as a kid. So I think it would have hit differently. Yeah. Especially if we were that young, like 96, like
Mhm.
96, literal kids, children. So,
And that's the kind of overarching push between it. Before we go literal into the book, there seems to be a sense of the forefathers that were carrying the comic book industry now looking down at the new generation coming up. I guess that's the Silver Age, right?
mhm,
And so reading this book now, what are we at? 20 years later?
30.
19? Wow. Um, you get to see through all the subtext. You get to see what the writer's actually mad about. And it's he doesn't like the landscape of what comics are turning into.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
So it's insane, right? Because you put yourself in that position and you can kind of see obviously where comics were going, but where they are now, right? And everything's been cyclical. So his major gripe doesn't really hold up because this type of comic has found a resurgence and there's been a return back to this type of presentation. But there were moments where I guess everybody from the Bronze Age was feeling like, oh, we about to get pushed out and there's no room for us to come back.
Yeah. And it's funny because if you look at it in that meta way that you were talking about, it's like this is 96. The Dark Age started in like the late 80s with our past two Hall of Famers,
Mm-hmm.
Frank Miller and Alan Moore, kind of spearheading that specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And then Image Comics and stuff. So like there's no coincidence that started in like 86 to 89, and then 1996 this book drops where it's like, all right, we're going to use DC heroes for this landscape here, and they're
Right.
all heroes too. They made sure to take out all the villains because in this story here, it's another reality, so it's an Elseworld story, and basically the civilians, the people get sick of the way that heroes have been dealing with villains. So where and what I mean by that is like lock them up, they get out again, do more crimes. Lock them
Right.
up, they get out again, do more crimes. They want more permanent results, and so the younger heroes are more willing to kill the villains, basically,
Mm-hmm.
led by that, and then that whole like way of thinking is led by someone named MAGOG. It's a terrible name.
First mistake.
And yeah, and so the civilians are like they have a choice to go with Superman's ways or MAGOG's ways, and they go with MAGOG's ways, and then shit hits the fan more or less. Superman and a lot of Silver Age guys go away,
Mm-hmm.
and the New Age comes over, and they basically kill off all the villains until they are at each other's throats
You're right.
with catastrophic results. The one thing with Parasite was that one scene where MAGOG and his guys
One of
attack
the best scenes in
Parasite.
the book. I loved it.
Yeah, and that was crazy, and then it wipes out all of Kansas.
Yeah, he cuts across, like he cuts into Captain Atom,
Yeah,
and the explosion from ripping that guy apart just decimates an entire like city,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
millions are dead. I was like, all right, that's a good way to catch my attention.
Yeah, and that's kind of how the book shifts back to the old guard, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
say, with Wonder Woman trying to recruit Superman to come help out. Then you have the story that unfolds. The different thing with this is that it's not told by any of their perspectives. It's told by a new character's perspective named Norman McKay, who's
Mm-hmm.
a priest. Him and Spectre
Right.
are going along, kind of like the ghosts of Christmas past, and they're watching everything as it unfolds and where it
Right.
happens. So all the different points of interest, right? The Superman stuff, the Batman stuff, the Lex Luthor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The Oa stuff, the God stuff, like they
yeah,
go.
That's
completely
right. Yeah.
astral plane. And you even see Dead Man, who's
Who
going by a
sees
different
him?
name. Yeah, who's going by a different name. And so there's certain moments where
Well, Boston's his real name, but yeah.
Boston, yeah, true. Where those their characters' inserts actually have moments of levity and insight, but for the most part, they're just flies on the wall
Mm.
to what they perceive to be a cataclysmic event and the destruction of, I guess, humanity as we know it. So large stakes, right off the bat. But fundamentally, I don't know why he was chosen for this
Yeah,
grand reveal.
I'm still not sure about that either. It was an interesting play. Let's see how it shapes up. It was like 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 because it starts with the original Sandman, which is
Mm-hmm.
interesting. And he's dying and he's passing on some information. Norman McKay's like the end of times is coming, whatever, and then not long after Norman McKay is visited by the Spectre, and then they go around. It was an interesting take because it didn't really work that well for me. I think I would have been whenever they have a character that leads you around.
Right.
I feel like now there's a layer in between me and the characters in the book. I know it
Okay.
sounds very dweeby, but I don't feel like I'm in the story. I feel like I'm watching the story. So it's
But this is more of a story to be watched, right? I don't think we were ever
yes,
supposed to be on the front lines, right? It's
that's true, but it does kind of get a little. I don't know. It didn't. I would have rather been in it with them as it kind of goes on.
I wouldn't have, because if we were in it, we were definitely being talked down to. It seems like
Mm.
this is a tiered book, and between Spectre and what's his name again, Norman, they're the highest tier because they can kind of move through everything. Then there's the God realm, right? Because you get to see Oa, you get to see the god that made Shazam and like them. So that's another level. Then you have the actual gods, the men humans, which is the Superman, the Wonder Woman, Batman to a level, even though he's not a god. But these are all the old guard who are
Hmm.
looking down literally and figuratively to the next generation because they don't like how the next generation is working and how they quote unquote save the day. After them, then there's the newbies, we'll call them for lack of better words, the new guard. That would have been the smarter thing to say. Who are mixed in with villains, who are mixed in with um, a lot of,
Lower class villains, yeah, like
yeah.
Joker's
But I want to
daughters. And,
not siblings, but like the children of all these
yeah,
old guards, and then it's the humans. So we would have been on that bottom tier where we're maybe there's government officials and then the public, but we would have been on that lower tier where we're just basically at the mercy of everything happening and we have no control of anything. And anytime we have an opinion, all the people at the top just get all pissy and run away. Like that's how I read it. So I was glad I couldn't insert myself into this story because when I did enjoy it, I was so glad I was so far away from it. But when I didn't want to be stuck into the world. I'm so glad it's an Elseworld story, but I didn't want to be stuck in the seemingly stupid problems that they've created for themselves. Because really, all they really needed was like a meeting between everyone to be like, okay, like, can we work out how we're going to do this and who's going to carry the baton?
but
It
nobody really
doesn't
wanted
seem
to
like there
meet
was a lot
either.
of problems beyond villains kind of taking over and like the big bad trying to explode everything. It really was like I got my feelings hurt, so I left. I didn't like how the new like police captain was running things, so I don't play for him anymore. Like I'd rather be a vigilante. Like I don't like the way the world is changing and I can't control it, so I'm not going to be a part of it. A lot of it for me read as I'm going to take my ball and go home. So I laugh at that. But how often do you want a boomer telling you like your way's not a good way? Like talking down to you. So a lot of this book felt like someone was trying to talk down to me, especially because there's something I enjoy a little different than what you enjoy. But that's me going back meta. The morality of it is these authoritarians and the old guard don't want you to kill everyone recklessly. That makes sense. And the new guard's like, we're kind of clearing a solution here. It's not the best solution, but we don't have to worry about these problems anymore. So like that situation, I felt could have got explored better. But the fact that we get to weave through all these personal and different ideologies between all the other characters is some of the fun stuff in the book.
it's hard to pinpoint what, like, because there's, as you're talking, like, you're right about all that, but it's hard to pinpoint like what exactly I liked and what exactly I didn't like. Not sorry, not that I liked, but what exactly I didn't enjoy with this book. Because when we're talking about it, it sounds really, really cool. Like,
Mhm.
it's generational differences. There's um, ways of thinking. Like, yeah, Superman took his ball and went home, but it's because he knew he wasn't wanted, and then he was gone for so long. Things just the new ideology just became the way of life, and it was just constant violence all the time, right? So he's trying to come back and change that, and it's like you can't just have a conversation after this long and just change things back the way they were, right? So there's
Right.
there's
But
there's
he does that. He
he
comes
does,
back. He's
yeah,
like, you gonna join me or not? Because if you're not, I'm throwing you into this new jail that I made.
yes, which is, yeah, it's absolutely right. Yeah, he becomes very like holier than thou, and then he's like, oh, I'll put them in this prison all in the same place, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we're gonna educate them. It's like you can tell he's been out of the game because it's like, what are you talking about? You can't just put a bunch of like it's like putting a bunch of children in one room and being like, okay, don't play with any of the toys in here, none of it, and no fighting.
But even worse than that, it's so authoritarian. Sorry, authoritarian, and like it has rings of fascism
Yeah,
because you're telling me your way is the best, and if I don't want to do it your way, I'm putting you in jail.
lock. Yeah,
So the best thing this book has going for it is this Elsewood story, because it's hard to say that a lot of moves that Superman made are Superman's core values. His first move is I quit. The people no longer like me, so I'm going home. Is that a Superman core? I don't think so. Like, fundamentally, and again, his world got stripped from him, right? So we're not putting in context that his parents had already died, but Joker shows up to the Daily Planet and just murders everybody, including his wife, I guess at the time, or still love interest, Lois Lane. So he's gutted. But new dude, what's his name again?
MAGOG.
Strike Two. I hate the name. It was a terrible name. Decides to end it right there and kills Joker. So the police doing the police thing that they're going to do, they put him on trial. And through trial of court opinion, McGog goes free. And Superman takes that as a slight as you think he's better than me because you decided he fixed a problem that nobody else knew how to fix. He did the wrong way, but that means you don't love me anymore. Like, is that a prima donna way of thinking? Is that a celebrity way of thinking? Is that someone that has been put on a pedestal for so long that they're not really thinking through clarity or common sense? Like all of those, I've seen that reaction before, but it happens to all the people in such high 1% places that they're so far removed from the public they don't even understand the moves that they're making are even worse than what they're taking personally. So I like that it was an Elsewood story because I'm like, that's not really Superman, but that's a fun take to get this book rolling.
That's what saves it, because you're absolutely right. When you were talking about which one is it, it's definitely like he's out of touch. He's like, it's not me, it's the kids who are out of touch. Like, yes, I gotta squeeze the Simpson quote in all the time.
Please.
What they're doing, the new generation, is wrong. It's like, it's not in the sense of morality. Like, you can't just go around killing everybody that, and then they end up starting fighting each other. But at the same time, like you're saying, he's just like, well, they don't like me anymore.
Yeah.
Him being Superman, I'm just gonna go away then because you don't believe in me anymore.
My way doesn't work. I quit.
Yeah, but
What?
then at the same time, it's like it's Elseworld, so it's not really Superman. It's a
Right.
version of Superman. So, and then if he doesn't go away, none of this happens. You don't have a book, so it's like,
And that too, the fact that this man has been such the number one Golding shining star. Like imagine Michael Jordan retiring and the rest of the league being like, "Yeah, it's time to retire." So we lose Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, uh, David Robinson. Who else did he take championship? Sean Kemp. Like that's half. Imagine all your All Star team also deciding like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take a break now." No, that's not what would happen. The next one up would be like, "Cool, forget this guy. It's now us." And this is
yeah,
way more serious than NBA like playoff basketball. This is life or death. Like you guys are superheroes. There's a whole league assembled to prevent moments like this of happening, right? If somebody falls, there's somebody else that can step up. But the fact that it was such a chain reaction that people are like, if Superman quits, I guess I should quit now.
Oh yeah, Green Lantern's gonna say that. Yeah,
Like, what?
yeah. And
Again,
then the
Elseworld helped me bend my mind
yeah,
around. Okay, cool. Like, these guys are really butthurt over your shining blue toy, Big Blue, just leave it.
yeah, because the one that doesn't really do that is, and also the most believable is Batman, right? He just kind of retreats, like, all right, well then I'm just gonna gonna shrink my scale a bit and just take care of Gotham. And he like turns Gotham into like a almost like a police state.
It is a police, not almost. It is a police state. Apparently, his secret identity gets revealed, and then I think it's Bane and Two Face come and ransack
Yeah.
his house.
Yeah.
And so he just puts himself in an exosuit and
I want to read that book.
That would be pretty good.
That's what
Just
I want to read.
the revelation. There are a lot of subplots here that would be fun to just go explore by itself.
Like that team up, Bane and Two Face going at
Two-Face.
him. I like how the Flash is like how he's drawn in this. He's kind of like he can't stop moving. So when they show him, he's like constantly
In a blur.
like, yeah. And I want to in a blur. Thank you. I was like, I want to know how he got that. I want to know how Batman's place got ransacked. I want to know what happened with the Amazonians that kicked Wonder Woman out. Like I want to know all this stuff. I want to know like
No, we have political agendas
yeah.
to talk about, and he has to go to the UN and visit. But Batman now has retired to his basement, Batcave, man cave, and he's in an exosuit, which is pretty damn cool because he's old as fuck.
Yeah.
But he now just has bat drones that are literally just dropping down at any moment in Gotham to stop anything that he doesn't like. And that's a comic book. The fact that he's now above the law, he's become the worst version of himself that he possibly could be. And he thinks he's helping.
You know what book that is? Superior Spider-Man. That's when Otto takes over. That's basically he puts he has the little spider drones everywhere, and they're like his eyes for all over the city. So it's not quite that, but that's what it reminded me of. I was like, oh, this, which is funny because Superior Spider-Man came out like 20 something years after this book did. So it's actually the other way around, but that's kind of how, that's the vibes I got.
Did you also get Watchmen vibes from this book? Because there's a lot of parallels.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah. And I think that was kind of the point, right? Like we were talking about. I think this is the meta version of this is they're talking about Watchmen specifically. They're talking about all the bloody and dark and moody comics that are taking over the popularity right now, right? So right now being this era, the 90s.
Batman's ruling under his robotic thumb.
Yeah.
Superman's basically on a farm, and Wonder Woman's the only one trying to hold it all together.
Yeah.
But she really gets shortchanged throughout this entire series because everyone else has degrees of, while their new persona and their older persona has changed and had to evolve because things have changed and evolved in their universes. Wonder Woman stayed the same, and it doesn't really work for me in this book because she just comes off as aggressive, angry, and bloodlusty, and she just constantly wants Superman back.
Yeah, she really pushes for that. She really pushes for Superman back. I didn't really like, I agree with you. I didn't really like how he leaves, so everybody leaves. I thought that was a bit of a cop out.
Yep.
Because that wouldn't have happened like that. I would have rather believed like he leaves and then a couple other heroes get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Green Lantern gets killed, a Batman, maybe not Batman because everybody, he's always prepared, but you know what I mean, like our Red Robin got killed. Certain heroes actually get killed off, and that's like, okay, you know what, guys, a bunch of us are gonna hang up our tights because it's getting insane.
Right.
I'm not sure what else to talk about with like concerning the plot because we've kind of gone through the idea of the book. Like they come back and there's we don't have to go through all that, but it's like that's the what we're talking about is the idea of the whole 4-issue book is that they go the old guard goes away and then it's about them basically forcing their way back in through any means necessary. One thing that was holding it back for me is like you were talking about the tiers of people, the layers of people.
Right.
The new people, the new guard basically doesn't really have a voice. Because even like you could say it's MAGOG, but he's not really like when they do find him, he's kind of like, I'm over it. So they don't really have a voice. So there's no like personification of that tier. Whereas the gods tier, the super people, like there's lots of different voices. So I'd rather, I
Yes.
think it would have been more interesting to give the younger ones a bit of a voice so they could actually argue back. Instead, they're just like, oh, they're just killing each other constantly. I thought that was kind of weird. Yeah.
That's one of the major issues. It's
Yes.
faceless villains
Yeah.
and nobody's charismatic. So there's no reason for me to believe that this new guard took over because you have given me no face of a new guard. You've given me oppositions for why Superman quit, and that's MAGOG, but then you instantly, like you're saying, throw him away. And then you bring another old guard in for the final act as Shazam Captain Marvel to help rectify the situation, but he has never been the opposition for what you were saying this whole story was about. So I was upset that there was nobody charismatic that I could at least root for to lose on the villain side, right? Even the villains bring in Batman at a certain point, right? And
But you
you
see
kind
that
of
coming.
like what they're bending to, but they're not really villains, right? They're more just boardroom dudes of like, okay, cool, how do we make money off of this situation? They didn't progress the plot into getting Superman to quit. They didn't progress the plot into this nuclear storm that's about to happen, right? With the UN dropping all these bombs. So I'm with you. The faceless villain is really a shot, and that's where I go meta again, is a shot at the industry. And if that's the shot at the industry, like you're shooting at me because this is who I'm buying comics from.
It was cool. You mentioned Shazam too. I thought it was pretty cool that he actually had like a role in this. But you're right. But
Billy Bats.
and it was kind of Miracle Manish because it was like he grew up as Billy Bats,
Yeah.
and then Luther wouldn't let him use Shazam for so long,
Yeah.
because he brainwashed him with the
And
worms.
interesting, used
Yeah,
like yeah, used earworms to keep infecting him and keeping him kind of schizophrenic, so we didn't
yeah.
know where he was coming from. But that's such a underutilized plot line that you could have given me a whole book on just what happened to Batson in this whole time and him
It was
fracturing, because there were levels of
mhm.
Century before we got Century of like his schism, but it gets underplayed and then it goes straight to like a fight between Superman and Shazam and Captain Marvel that I feel is it's not really earned, but you needed somebody on the god tier level to fight
Yeah,
Superman that you hadn't established previously.
and it's either Wonder Woman or Shazam, basically, right? Like
But
there's
there's a better case to make Wonder Woman the big bad of like the new generation of like you left us, so I brought on these new guys, and because you're not here now, my morality sticks. Like that's a way more interesting story because you have two opposing forces that came from the same spot. But I don't think that was the writer's intention. It was like, let's look down
yeah.
on this faceless crowd that we don't know, or this looming shadow, the nothingness from the never ending story. Like we don't know what's coming, but it's out there, and we have to put them all in jail.
And then Norman McKay and Spectre, in my opinion, just get, as the book goes on, they get less and less interesting.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, you guys are kind of like now getting in the way. Like, can we just? It's like judge at the end. He's like judge this, and I'm like, what are you
What
doing?
what are you gonna
What are you
judge?
doing right now? Yeah. Well, okay. So one thing I will say, you see here, they can't. You guys can't see us who's listening because we only do audio. But the
For
video I'm
now.
holding up, yeah, for now I'm holding up um, the Kingdom Come trade. Even though this book isn't amazing to me, this trade is one of the best trades I have ever owned, because this right here is the story.
Okay.
This right here is like notes and extras.
Oh
So
wow.
it's really, really, really in depth, and they go over, like, they have like notes of how, like, Mark Waid has notes of how he started this, all everything on the different characters, like sketch work for
That's
Superman, things like
beautiful.
that. They have it's amazing. They have like all the side characters named in biographies for them. There's like Hourman, Starman 7 or 8, sorry, Tornado, like the original Red Tornado. There's Robot Man, Atom Smasher. Like, it's really, really cool. So it's like, because there's a lot of characters in this book
Yes.
and a lot of like weird characters too. So they go through all the regular people, like the well known ones. Then they go through like like the C-list characters. Then they go through the new characters. Then they go through some of the villain. Like, they go through and then they show on the covers. I don't know if you can see that, they're all numbered.
Okay.
So if you're not sure who's on the cover, they have
Oh,
the
they
names there.
give you the, and then there's children. You get the children of people in this too,
Yep,
right? I think
Batwoman 2 and Ace 2. Like, there's, like, then
Starfire and Dick
it's
Grayson's
like
child's in this. Like
the
there's a
Titans,
lot
right?
of
So, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then they go through all that, and it's Arthur and Dolphin, and they go through. It's really, 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 like, they go the Americommando.
It's awesome.
Remember that guy they shot? Like, so they have. There's a guy called Swastika in this.
Well, that totally plays to the
So-
last like 17 things we were reading.
His Miller is showing in this, which is funny because they're going at the whole Miller and Moore thing.
Miller
right? So,
generation.
but I do want to shout out this, and then it has like different notes for all the different chapters, and it even has some panels and pages that aren't in the book that I guess were cut out or whatever, and different like covers that were. This trade is awesome. It's halfway the story, but then it's half just all this extra stuff that you could sit there and read for hours.
But you bring up a perfect point. Like, this story is such a mindfuck. I don't know if I could say I liked it, but I would easily recommend it. You can't
Yeah.
call yourself a comic book fan without reading it.
It's
there's
essential.
there's so many levels to it that you can pull it out, especially depending on where you're reading it. And if you've never been a DC fan before, to start here would be insane because there's so much going on. How could you pick up? Yeah, you showed me the whole family
Generations,
tree.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's entire family tree of all the generations. It's really, really cool. Sorry, go ahead.
How could you start here if you didn't know anything about DC? But you essentially could, because you could end up peeling back the layers. Because like, oh, I like this character. I like this character. Let me go read about Spectre somewhere else. Let me go read about Boston and his. It's not Daredevil, Deadman somewhere else, right? Let me go read about Captain Atom,
Yep.
Shazam. It's such a collection, and basically it's like a yearbook. It's a reunion special of all these characters that have paid dues. That it's hard to say, oh, never touch this book. Throw this away. For me, it's such a good book that I would want to talk to another comic book fan about, and not even a comic book fan, like a reader about, because there's so many things you can pull from it, especially where you're reading and your literacy level is in terms of comics and what you've read to get to this point, or where you first saw this book and how it brought you in. Like, that cover art will always bring me in. It's a beautiful cover. And to see all these heroes in like the heroic pose for the heroic age is so cinematic. Like, I'd be hard pressed not to open a book and start reading it as soon as I saw it.
That's the thing. Like, I'm enjoying talking to you about this more than I enjoy it actually reading it, because it's an interesting read. It's not the best. I don't think it's like top 10 by any means, but it's a nice conversation piece because it is layered. And I feel like, you might hate me for saying this, I feel like this type of book kind of demands a few rereads to get all the layers, because there's a lot going on.
I hate you for saying that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this book, and there's things that you might miss because you're either, it's gonna sound bad, you're either bored or you're like a little distracted, or you're not sure who these people are. Like, because there's a couple pages like, who are these people? The red, white, and blue. I was like, who are these people?
Coke, all three things you listed happened to me. I got bored.
Yeah.
I got distracted. I got, who the hell is this? Why do I care about this? And then I'm still looking up this guy's name because I can never say it properly.
MAGOG.
Strike three. Of all the names you could name a new character, Grog? I didn't even say it right. That's how much I don't like it. It just doesn't even roll off the tongue. You could have called him Mighty Man, and it would have been a better choice.
You know what was amazing about that too is like when in I think the first issue when Wonder Woman goes to visit Superman for the first time in this fake ranch, and they're talking. It's like, yeah, you know why you're here and stuff. Like, they get to the end and it's a very dramatic scene, and he's like, yeah, I know, MAGOG. And he just says the one. I was like, what? Who? Huh?
Like, is he speaking a different language?
Did he clear his throat? What was that? Like,
it inspires no fear when you hear his name.
Yeah, it's a horrible name. His
name and his design don't match up. And he's supposed to be pitted at the reason that Superman left. Superman, Kal-El leaving no planet for no MAGOG. MAGOG not chasing me off no rock. Nobody in the paper is voting for a MAGOG over Superman. So like that,
just on names alone.
Name alone. We voted for people off a name alone. So like that alone pulled me out of this whole newspaper article was saying like Superman gives up because MAGOG gets off free. I put that guy in jail because his name is MAGOG. What are you talking about?
And is that a code name or is that his real name? Because that's like, if he chose that himself, Lord have mercy.
If his mom named him MAGOG, I'm gonna call him MAGOG. But if mama is smart enough not to call him MAGOG, MAGOG. And like, I wish we did some research. If MAGOG means something like warrior from another time, great. But this is where you have poetic license. You could have called him Ultraman, even though it exists. You could have called him Superior Man, probably exists. You could have called him Man, and I
You could
still
have just
think that's
called him.
better.
You could have just called him like the Bison, and I'd be like, oh,
The
he's got
rapture, the
yeah,
ending,
exactly, yeah, yeah,
Acropolis, Super Kryptonite.
yeah.
There's literally thousands of names that would have instilled. You could have called him Image and really play up like, we coming after you. Hogan, we coming after you. Could have completely
You
went
can't
for
say
it.
oh, that's right. Oh, can't say that.
But it's those little things that I don't know if that's the writer having a laugh at us or like he actually has a deep connection to MAGOG, but not really because MAGOG doesn't even make it 3 issues. He only makes it 2, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah. He's really there, and this is his first appearance. Like this, he created him. Mark Waid created him. So
Now there's a scene I really enjoy, but the after effect kind of sours me. It's when Batman finally goes face to face with Captain Marvel / Shazam, and he asks him to make the choice. You can go back to Billy and die here because the UN has decided to bomb. Like, great UN, like just we're gonna blow up all these metahumans because we can't control them. Or you can turn into Captain Marvel and essentially give a damn and fight for your life. And it takes Billy all but like 3 seconds to say Shazam and sacrifices himself to go destroy this nuclear weapon and obviously kamikaze himself. But I love the fact that there are certain moments in this book where you do give a fuck of what Superman is saying. He still has enough weight to be like, make this choice now. You can join
yeah,
me or you can leave me. But he does it so much that it kind of loses meaning from him being a gold star as much to like, I'm the new sheriff in town, and if you don't
yeah.
get down, like if you don't stay down, you go lay down.
And like Mark Waid's like a good writer. Like, because if you fast forward to the epilogue where they're all in the diner together, the Trinity's in the diner together.
Yeah.
That's like the best part of the whole book, I think. They're just
Except
shooting the breeze.
yes, except the fact that you've reduced Wonder Woman to just a baby maker, a fat baby maker, because he gets to call her fat.
He gets to call it, does get to call her fat. But and that the diner or cafe that they're in too, is it like, to me I just kept laughing because it was like the way like the employees, they're all dressed like superheroes. I'm like, oh yeah, me, I'm the green, what am I again? The Green Arrow, right? So he's dressed like the Green Lantern. Like it never,
I
that
said,
was
"Well
perfect.
done, well done,"
Yeah,
and then Superman uses his eyes.
yeah, he eats it up like that. I'm sorry, that interaction is fun, man.
But tell me, you wouldn't want an entire issue of just retired Trinity just trying to do their day to day mundane,
Be great.
but can't leave their life alone.
Be great.
So is it Mark? Who's the writer?
Mark Waid.
Is it
The
Mark?
writer?
Is Mark a genius for giving us all these tastes of things that we wanted but never got, or is he a missed opportunist because there's so much depth he could have gone even further in a story that's already regarded as one of the best in the DC pantheon?
I think that's the point, right? He wants people to talk about it. And look at us. This is one of our longest AAs that we've done, right?
No, we've
we're
talked
at-
about assholes way longer than this one.
I don't think so. Did we? We talked about assholes. That book's amazing.
It's only because it's a mind fuck. I can't. If it was great, it'd be. We talk about the art. We talk about story
Yeah.
structure. We talk about our favorite scenes, and be like, boom, boom. If it was terrible, it'd be like, art sucked. Story doesn't stick together. It's not better than Ninjet, but it's right in the middle of. It's so interesting. It's so unavoidable. It's so iconic, but like doesn't hold up.
We rate these on a good or bad basis. Boom being good, Boom being good, Bob Bob being bad, and whoosh for what I just read. Thank you, Kang.
For what you could be the Kong finally, but chose not to.
How do you rate this book?
I've said it before, and I've never meant it because I never got to read this. This is the hardest decision I've had to make in the rating scale. I want a cheat system and give it a whoosh.
So do I.
It's not. It's honestly not what I just read. I read it. I'll never own it, but I can't tell you you can't read it. And that's the thing. To own it is definitely worthy. It belongs on the shelf. Like as a DC fan, as a comic book fan, I could easily see you sliding that in there and being like, "Yeah, no, that makes sense." But
Yeah.
me personally, I will never own this.
but that back half is like, that's the crazy thing, is the back half is worth going as a trade. Like, I love this. I'm gonna spend hours on this.
And you asking me to reread it is like, fuck you. I read it the first time and fuck this guy. This guy doesn't like me and doesn't like my generation of the comic books coming in. But he has some really good ideas. And then he shits the bed on a lot of stuff. It's a boom. It's a boom.
I think it has to be.
It's too undeniable. Even the way I feel, I know how it makes so many other people feel, but there's holes. Like, people can't look at this book as perfect. It's so far from perfect.
It's not top 10. It's not even top 25 for me.
It's not the best Superman book you'll ever read. It's not the best Justice League book you'll ever read. It's not the best Elseworld book I think you'll ever read. Although it's up there for Elseworld because...
Yeah, for Elseworld specifically, yeah, sure.
Because none of these guys are really the true versions of themselves.
And so it's interesting, and it leads to some cool conversations if you're...
But I hate it. Like, I think I leave with like, fuck this guy.
And at the end, you're like, I'm a little disappointed in how all this worked out, but I'm not mad. I just don't really know if this is what I was expecting or wanting.
I feel like it wasn't for me, but I got to be a fly on the wall to read it.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, oh yeah, I read it. And then when people are like, didn't you love it? I'm like, what'd you think about this part? Like, I know where to poke the holes for people to like question it. What do you read it? I gave it a... I was
gonna say a boom. I bounced around this whole time we were talking. I was like, yeah, because I came into the show thinking I'm gonna give it a boom, and then we like the first 5 minutes was like, nah, it's a bot, and then I kind of rode with that almost the whole episode until I was like, this is really interesting to talk about, and I was like, because if I rate this physical trade, huge boom, but if I just rate the story itself, it's like light boom. Don't
get into the shades of booming, because if we get into like loom, medium, and hard bod, then it's downhill from me. Although it's 100, so we can do whatever the fuck we want. But if I didn't get to review this with you, and you asked me about this book the next day, I'd be like, this piece of shit. I hated it.
Yeah,
fuck that guy.
Yeah,
fuck
you have
art.
to talk about you. You have to talk about it. Yeah, you have to talk about it. So since this is number 100, looking back,
we've done 100 of these.
Which is crazy.
Not really. We've read 100 comic books before we even talked about it.
Yeah, but I mean, just this series, the Arc Anaylsis series, because if you go to our actual episodes, we have like 150 of those easily or more.
And we're drunk in those.
And then we talk about books in those too. So this is like, but this is like our specified series. 6-pack.
Yeah.
What is your top 6? So you can just read off a list. I think we're gonna have a lot of the same stuff anyways, right?
Yeah, and you threw me off in our pre-meeting of like, are we talking about the stuff we like the best, or are we talking about episodes that are both you should go back and listen to if you haven't listened? And I think it's an even playing field of these are books that stayed with us, even if the episode didn't hold up. We still like the fact that we got to talk about these books. So I'll try and do the ones that we don't share. Number 1 for me was kind of the arc of Arc Anaylsis. It was a book gifted to me by Coke. It was Deadly Class, and I'm still reading it. I have 2 more volumes left in that series before it's done, and I've been holding on to it. I've been saving them because I don't want it to end, because I'm going to start again, obviously. But I love the journey that I got with these kids in maybe the most fucked up situation. I don't know if we're doing little rundowns of what the stories are.
You don't have to.
But Deadly Class is definitely a book and an episode that you should go back and listen to and look up. I know it didn't have the most success when it made it to TV, but don't let that negate the love and the craziness that you'll find in the pages of that book. So Deadly Class is definitely on my list.
Did you ever watch the show?
I watched 2 episodes and then didn't stay with it, but I have it.
Yeah, see, I watched it. I think I watched the whole thing. And it's like, it's weird because it's faithful. Mm-hmm. But then they do some weird things where they make the headmaster like a good guy. So,
is it worth doing an episode on our podcast about?
Maybe. I watched it when it first came. That was years ago. So I think it could be. I think it could be just because it's so niche, right? But
and it's just one.
I was
season.
surprised.
It's one and done.
Yeah, it's just one season, and then it didn't get renewed. I wonder if it was because they had it on the wrong network or something, or it just didn't advertise well. I don't know, but
timing.
They made some weird choices because they made what's the teacher's name again? The professor.
Benedict Wong.
Yeah, they made him a good guy, and I was like, that changes a lot of the dynamic, even
Yeah,
though
it's
the
true.
story beats are very, very faithful. Like the whole stuff with uh, ass face,
Mm-hmm.
that's all in there. I was
Oh
like,
shit,
whoa, this
and
is
that's
like,
dark,
yeah,
and that
yeah. So I
opens
was
with
like,
it. Yeah.
this is grimy. I was like, okay, so but then so they made some weird changes. I guess I'm not sure why, but I'm not going to even
I think Coke's
assume
talking
why.
us into doing a Deadly Class
It might,
season
because I'd
one
forgotten about
rewatch.
it until you. I had forgotten about it even existing until you just said. Because I remember watching. I was like, "This is not a bad adaptation," but I don't know.
Oh, fun.
Book's always better for me. Uh, Secret History of the Foot Clan.
Nice.
We are such a turtle slanted podcast. Um, that's like our favorite love, and the Secret History of the Foot Clan when it explores like the history of the turtles in such a cool way. That's a classic book. I read it like years ago when it first came out, and then we read it again for a year, and I still love it. So I had to have a turtle book.
Yeah, it made 100%. We're definitely a turtle pod if we're anything. I'm gonna put Saga on there. Saga is something that I was not expecting to like, let alone keep reading, and we've read way past the episodes that we've given you. But that book is just an explosion of imagination and all the best things that you would love from sci-fi, especially if you're a Star Wars fan or a Dune fan, even a Game of Thrones fan. They have all these little touch tones of everything that you've seen somewhere else before, but manages to weave it in one spot so well that I can't wait to see where it's going next. So like I love our episode of doing it because we were both dumbfounded on how good it was and then just both enjoyed it on our own time, not necessarily having to talk about it with each other.
For me, this is a funny one because it's kind of on the side. X-Ray Robot. I hate this book, to be honest with you, but it was the source of so much fun for us to talk about and so many laughs because it was like it was. I think it may have been the first instance, or at least one of the first instances, where we both read a book and we both had these holes to poke at it, and we didn't realize that like we noticed some of the same things, and we were just laughing the whole time. And it originated. That's the first time we ever used a whoosh in our rating system, and that came from that book because he was just whooshing all over the place.
He literally whooshed from scene to scene, and we're like, "What are we reading here? Like, what's going
And
on?"
the first issue was so cool, and then it was just like,
Yeah.
what
Just
are
a
we
drop
doing
off.
here? So, yeah, we were just so
Good book.
confused. So it's not my favorite book, but it's very, very memorable for those reasons.
Have you gone back to read that?
No,
Has there been a follow up?
no.
Has that writer done anything? Did they just go bankrupt
Oh,
after?
I don't know. I don't even remember who. I don't even remember who wrote it. Oh no, it was a writer. It was a creator guy, like a writer,
Yeah.
artist guy, right?
They did both, and that's not an easy job to do.
I gotta look that up because that's an
You
older
do.
book now.
I think this is the last of the ones that we differ from. I wrote Prince of Cats,
Yeah.
2012 graphic novel by Ronald Wimberly. Basically, it's a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, but it's done in such an intricate and beautiful way. All the characters are more or less of African American heritage and look, but the book itself is beautiful because it uses a lot of pastels and browns. So you get a lot of blues, pinks, oranges, yellows on like these beautiful skin tones that are either brown or fading into purple. And I just liked the verbiage that they were using in it, right? Like it takes Shakespeare to the next level. And there's something about the rhythm of it. It was almost like its own hip hop sort of
Yeah,
rap album in itself. And we still, I know we don't say it on the podcast a lot, but I'll text this guy Verily 100 times
all the time. Yeah,
at 100 times, right? We're still waiting to see if Spike Lee carries through with this because it was announced that he picked up the rights for it and was going to turn it into a movie, and we both got dumbfounded of like, oh, this could be the craziest thing we ever get to see. But even if we don't get that, we still have this, and this is a book that I definitely have to chase down to put on my bookshelf. That's how much I liked it and then reviewed it with.
yeah. I've got that one here. It's bigger than most trades too. It's like not thickness, but like size wise, like it's taller, so it doesn't fit with the other ones. It's
Talk more about the girth of it too.
the girth.
It's a veiny book.
That's an interesting book because I think it's the only time I read a book once and I didn't like it at all. and then I read it again, and I loved it. Like it was just like
Day and night.
complete switch. Yeah, it was weird. It didn't click with me the first time, and then it clicked with me, and it's awesome.
Was this before and after you had black friends?
Yeah, no, it was definitely that. That was the exact reason why. Mr. Miracle, is it on your tape?
No, it's not.
That book just was like that blew my mind in a way that no other book did. I was like, this is so. It was not what I was expecting, and it was and it was so psychological and different than other books, and the framing. Remember, they had the same like the 9 panels every page except for a couple of them that were splash pages, and it was just so. It was a journey to just the act of reading. It was a journey because it was just the way it all unfolded. I have that one too.
Mr. Miracle is a great episode to listen to us in real time start to discover things and hear each of us trigger somebody else's like, oh, you thought that? I was thinking this. And that's usually fun for us. That's why we kind of have pre-meetings, because our perspectives are fairly different. It's just we enjoy a lot of the same things. So when we hear the other person say something, it usually, oh, it's a beautiful book. It triggers something. So Mr. Miracle definitely triggered a lot of forward-thinking thoughts and I guess theories and ideologies that we weren't even expecting to get from a comic book.
Remember those pages? Darkseid it carries so much weight to it.
Coke's literally gonna go reread this tomorrow because he's thinking.
I probably will because I have it. I haven't read it since I bought it, but like,
I think the last 3 are all shared. I think between the both of us, it's So if we're ranking this, it's hard to rank, but I'm probably gonna go with one of the funniest, but not the funniest. I'm going to go with Shirtless Bear Fighter, which was such a breath of fresh air and what I want a Naked Gun comic book to look like.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. It was like reading a Naked Gun comic book. Yeah.
I think that's one of the thoughts we say during that episode. But we're literally laughing, and I can remember the episode from page to page of how many bear puns they managed to squeeze into a panel. Right? It ends up turning into Embarrassment of Riches because they try and make a sequel out of it, and it's not as good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard to tell somebody, especially a creator, that you've done perfect. You don't need to do anything else. But the fact that we got that one book, I still go back to that kind of annually, and I have the same laughs. It still hits the same.
Oh, it's amazing, and it's just like the whole pancakes and flapjack thing. Just,
oh my gosh,
that kills me so. She didn't mean it, Shirtless. She didn't mean it.
He's been in every war. It doesn't make any sense. Not him. What's the number 2?
Yeah, the general.
Friend. Yeah,
that's right. He's been in every war, and the one girl's like, "That's not possible."
How old are you? He's like, "You never get answers."
You won't answer.
Yeah.
So going from one funny to the next funniest, assholes.
Amazing.
I don't know. Amazing. I don't know why. Like that's what I was saying. I have all these books, like physically, except this one because there's no physical version of it. You sent me you found that PDF version, which is awesome, but
not the same.
It's not the same. I want to hold it in my hot little hand. And
you want to take it to the links and read that between the holes, man.
Oh man, I can't. Oh, that'd be amazing because it's just a book about 2 assholes going golfing. And it's the funniest shit. Like it's so every hole is broken down differently.
It's simplistic, but it doesn't take away from as much planning and insight to each joke. It's your favorite comedian telling you 18 jokes. And one they took off because we can't tell you what happened on this joke.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
It's so personable because you can tell the author has been in some of these shits that's going on with it. And then it's so random. Like when they start like humping the pelican, like it just goes off the rails at certain points. It's amazing. It's so amazing.
It's incredible. And then the last book we share, The Kill Lock. It's got to be
gorgeous.
Robots.
Gorgeous.
It's a book about robots, but it's such a cool idea because these 4 robots have a mark on them called the Kill Lock. And they've been sentenced to they've done some sort of crime, and when they're let out in this world, 4 robots share their lock, and if one of them dies, they all die. So they're on a journey to try and remove this marking, which has never been done before, and things ensue. so well written. It's such a pleasure to read. It's funny, but it's fun and it's crazy and it's cool and it's unexpected, and I love that book. Love
Same
it.
writer, same artist, which is an insanely hard thing to do. But this author and artist manages to pull it off. It manages to give you so much depth of character and humanity from robot faces. So again, that was just a mind fuck in itself. And the fact that you're super satisfied with the kind of cliffhanger ending that they give you
Yeah.
is one of the best ways to leave that comic book.
Yeah, but then they don't. Just like Bear Fighter, they bring back a second one, and it's not quite the same thing.
It's still really good,
Yes, it is.
but nothing can compare to that first one.
So check all those books out, read them, and have them done before the next episode. Not you, Dank. Everybody else listening.
Yeah, and then go back to those episodes and like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment, because all of those have already been published for you wherever you find our lovely, lovely podcast. Again, thank you for still listening, you Numeatz and you Sawftcheezes. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us.
Let's get out of here. Let's go home.